Hello, Professor. So this is my first YouTube video, and I wrote a script. But for this last infusion, I talked about a few things, and here it goes. So this semester has been pretty wild. I've had several COVID exposure scares. I've had almost all my classes online, and athletics has been shut down, so stress has been pretty high. But amidst all the strangeness that has occurred, there have been things that I've learned and that have helped me a lot and encouraged me throughout the semester. Thankfully, this class remains somewhat in person, and I really enjoy being able to have discussions with new people, and not only about the common political topics of today, but of a lot of other things. With a few things that I learned in class, a few of them that stuck out to me were how perseverance is really practice. I got this from the QBQ, and how to effectively communicate with others. So, in the first few classes, we talked about perseverance a lot and more of the characteristics of entrepreneurs. And I always knew that if someone was consistent in their effort, more often than not, it would lead to good results. So with all my classes online, it was definitely hard to stay motivated if I wanted to get decent grades. So I really tried to put this into practice by practicing perseverance and reminding myself that a true entrepreneur really goes through the hard things and doesn't slack off when it gets tough. This came to be really important to me when I had a potential COVID exposure recently. When that happened, I didn't train with my team anymore, and I wasn't allowed to leave my house essentially. So I had to stay in training despite all these things because I'm a college athlete, and whenever I came back, there was the potential for me to compete. So I had to find new and creative ways to make outside the box workouts, try new things, but at the same time having fun with it, which is a huge thing, and I think that's something that we learned entrepreneurs really do a lot. The reason why they make a company is for their enjoyment and for the betterment of society, but not just the money or the results. So that was something that I definitely had to keep in mind during the semester. Lastly, the effective communication that I learned throughout this semester was just throughout between the presentations and working with classmates and having our discussions. I really learned that there's certain ways where we can communicate ideas effectively. But a video that really stood out to me was Simon Sinek's video, where he talks about communicating our whys and how when we sell to people that we have to tell our why before the what. Right now I'm applying for a lot of jobs and internships, so I find that this is a way that I can differentiate myself from other candidates that have similar credentials and abilities. But yeah, I've also seen this a lot more since I've learned about it. During my entrepreneur interview, that was one of the questions I asked my entrepreneur, and while it was a pretty expected response, she said that her why was to make herself and the people around her happy, which makes sense. And I think that's when an entrepreneur will be really successful, when they're doing it for themselves and to make themselves happy. All in all, I believe that this class has taught me a lot about how to handle myself in a competitive world. As we learned in A Whole New Mind, the world's changing fast, and that was written over a decade ago. So it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. Is turning out currently. A lot of the things that he talked about, it's been happening my whole life, and I've seen it. So this class has definitely taught me how to prepare for after college with a mindset that is outside the box and willing to do new things. So yeah, thank you for a great semester, and I hope to see you around.